Okay, we are live. Thank you everybody for tuning in to this live Q&A. We're going to be talking about the special EISP offer available to certain associates of Verizon. And well, why should you listen to us in the first place? Well, we've been working with Verizon associates for over 20 years now and helping them retire successfully from Verizon. And we've actually seen many EISP offers in the past, so this is not our first rodeo. But that does not mean that we are affiliated with Verizon in any official capacity. We are completely independent from Verizon, but that's actually a good thing because what that means is that we are always in the position to act in your best interest now and in the future. Before we get started on our quick presentation, before we start taking your questions, we just wanted to let everyone know we are hosting an open house at Silvioni's on Tuesday, the 27th, July 27th, 5 to 7 p.m. And we're going to be there to answer any questions that you might have about the EISP or about your retirement in general. Please feel free to stop by. We hope to see you guys there. Okay, so like I said, we're going to give quick highlights of the offer. And in the meantime, if you think of any questions that you want to make sure get answered, please submit them to the Q&A box at the top or bottom of your screen, and we'll make sure to get to them. So Bobby, let's turn it over to you. Start us off. What are the highlights of this offer?
Sure. Well, to start, the offer window started on Monday, July 19th, this past Monday, and extends through 11:59 p.m. on the night of Tuesday, August 17th. And then again, the last day worked for associates whose applications are accepted is September 4th. And there's three main payout components to this EISP offer. There's the termination bonus, the termination allowance, the payment allowance, and the expense allowance. So that termination bonus is $50,000 in this offer. In a normal offer, it is a $10,000 bonus, and that's one of the components that makes this a special offer, is that it's a $50,000 bonus. The enhanced income security plan, that payment allowance is $2,200 for each year of credited service up to and including 40 years. So a couple of components that make this an enhanced component. The $2,200 for each year is typically $1,100 in a normal EISP offer, and it also extends through 40 years of service rather than the typical 30 years. So those are two important components. This third component is particularly important for those who aren't necessarily retiring, but maybe transitioning to another company. That's the expense allowance of $750 per year of service up to $3,750. And again, so this is if you're transitioning to work somewhere else and there are traveling expenses, if there are education expenses, certification expenses, these are things that you would need to get approved by Verizon first. That's important. Get it approved by Verizon first, and then they will reimburse you for that expense.
Okay. Good. All right. So Casey, talk to us about pension benefits and other healthcare, other benefits as well.
Yeah, a couple of other enhancements to this EISP offer. It accelerates the September 15th 1% pension band increase. So that's nice. It's adding to your pension. Also waives any age-based pension reductions. If you're retiring without 30 years of service and under the age of 55, it takes away that 0.5% age discount, age penalty between the age of 50 and 55. So that's important. Also, it does provide health care and other benefits depending upon whether you're retirement or non-retirement eligible. And you'll want to read pages, in particular, page 9 and 10 of the package to see what applies to you. But I will say the medical benefits, there is a 6-month active retiree benefit with no cost for both retirement and non-retirement eligible employees.
So 6 months severance period for medical benefits, whether you're retirement or non-retirement eligible.
At no cost.
And the other benefits that are listed on the screen here, there's just different nuances to each of them in terms of whether or not you are retirement or non-retirement eligible.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot to go into. I refer you to pages 9 and 10 of the EISP package.
Okay. And you can always call the benefit center as well. Okay, so let's get into the termination allowance payment options. So that's that $2,200 for each accredited year of service. Bobby, explain to us what those payment options are.
Right. Well, the first one being if your termination allowance is less than $10,000, of course, prior to taxes withholding, then it's automatically paid in one lump sum payment to you. But if it's more than $10,000, you do have two payment options. The first is to receive 100% of that termination allowance in monthly installments for up to 4 years or 48 monthly payments. The second option is to receive half of that as a lump sum payment and the other half in those equal 48 monthly installments, again, up to 4 years.
Okay. All right. So let's look at some examples that we have depending on age and years of service. So Casey, why don't you take us through this first example?
Okay, well, here's John Smith, age 62 with 24 years of service. So again, the EISP allowance is $2,200 times years of service, 24, which is $52,800. Under option one, he could take that payment over 48 months, which is $1,100 a month before taxes. Also getting the $50,000 lump sum bonus in a lump sum before taxes. Option two, he again gets the $50,000 lump sum bonus. And he takes the 26, half of the 52,800 as a lump sum and the other half over 48 months.
Okay.
So a little bit of flexibility, whether you want to extend the payment, all of it over 48 months or take half now and take the other half over 48 months.
Sure. Okay. So Bobby, the second example highlights a specific nuance regarding an associate's age. So why don't you talk us through this?
Right. Yeah, this is another nuance. So those termination allowances extend monthly payments extend through to your full retirement age. In this example, we're assuming this gentleman's full retirement age is age 67. And now instead of being 62 years old, he is 65 and 0 months old. It's important to notice he's 0 months old because and for every month that you are below the age of 67 is how many months that termination allowance will be paid over. So in the first example, again, he's 24 months short of age 67. So again, in that first example, he's taking 100% of the termination allowance in monthly payments. That termination allowance is divided over 24 months to get $2,475, of course, before taxes. In the second option, again, lump sum remains unchanged, decides to receive half of the termination allowance as a lump sum. The remaining half is broken out into 24 monthly increments of $1,237 before taxes.
Okay. So just to summarize, if your age at retirement is more than 48 months away from 67, then it's paid out over 48 months.
If you're within 48 months of your full retirement age, then there's that added layer of nuance to accepting it.
So it's only paid out for however many months until you get to that full retirement age. In this particular example, age 67. So if John Smith was 65 years and 1 month old, then it would be over 23 months.
That's exactly
that
right.
the termination allowance would be paid. Okay. Let's go over this last example, again, having to do with that age. Casey, go ahead, talk us through this one.
Okay, so if this retiree were 67 or older, that person gets both the option one and option two in a lump sum, both the $50,000 bonus and the EISP allowance payment, all in a lump sum.
So if you're full retirement age or over, and this example is 67, then you don't have an option. You're just getting a lump sum payment.
Check.
Okay, got it. All right, so we want to move on. So we actually have some frequently asked questions that we've gotten over the years for all of these different EISP offers that we've experienced and been through. And so we have them up on the screen. Again, if you guys have any questions, anybody tuning in, please feel free to submit it to the Q&A box. But what we're going to do right now is take you through these frequently asked questions. So let's start with this first one. Bobby, we've been talking about the bonuses and the termination allowance payments, whether that's monthly or half in a lump sum. How are these treated in terms of taxes? Are taxes automatically withheld, or is that up to the associate to pay the taxes when they're filing their returns?
Yeah, that's a great question. The answer is yes, they are automatically withheld. Very similarly to when you receive your paycheck weekly into your bank account, taxes are automatically withheld. These monthly payments and the lump sum, for that matter, their taxes are withheld.
Okay. So this next question we get a lot. How do I apply for the EISP? Casey?
Well, yes, if you've been given the offer, you have what's called the employee volunteer form. We're looking at it right now. You have up until midnight of August 17th to fax the form into the Benefits Center. You'll want to check the box volunteer, make sure you check that box and choose your options, whether you take it all over 48 months or the half and half option. You want to sign it, date it, put your email address, fax it to the Benefits Center. And within 48 hours, you should get a confirmation that it was received.
Within 48 hours of submitting this form?
Of faxing the form.
Okay, got it. Okay, Next question. So this next question, we always get this along with that previous question. When should I request my pension election paperwork?
Yeah, this is a very important question because, when most folks have that last day of work, they want to have access to that pension benefit and the income that comes from it, be it the annuity option or the lump sum, taking that income yourself. They want to have access to that as soon as possible.
Mhm.
So we actually recommend the folks that when they submit their ISP paperwork, they actually call the benefits center and ask for their pension election and authorization forms as
Mhm.
well. Again, that's very important, regardless of whether or not you're accepted for the ISP. Worst comes to worst, if you aren't accepted, you simply just don't return the pension paperwork, and that paperwork is automatically voided over a certain amount of days. But if you are accepted and you're able to get that pension paperwork in before the 10th of the month, the 10th of the month is the deadline to get the paperwork in order to receive your pension benefit on the 1st of the following month.
Mhm.
So again, the sooner you get that pension paperwork, the better your chances are of receiving your pension benefit as early as possible.
Actually, Casey and I were just working with someone today, and this person hasn't even submitted the paperwork yet,
Mhm.
but we called the benefits center and
Right.
requested the pension election paperwork. So
Yeah, it's
You
good for
can-
90 days, so
yeah.
order it early and
Mhm.
possibly use it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
gives you as much time as possible to look through the paperwork and make sure it's filled out appropriately. Okay, so this next question, again, is very often coupled with these previous two questions. When should I call Fidelity about my 401k, Casey?
Well, if you're retiring, normally it takes Fidelity about 2 weeks after you left Verizon to receive notification you're off payroll. So if you're looking to do a rollover or distribution, you'll want to wait about 2 weeks after your last day at work.
Okay, and that is assuming that this person does want to roll over their 401k. When you retire from Verizon, you are not required to roll over your 401k. You can absolutely keep it at Fidelity. Okay, next question. When will I find out if I'm accepted?
Great question. Casey touched on that briefly, but it's usually within a couple of days. So again, August 17th is a Tuesday. It takes a couple of days to process the requests.
Mhm.
So you should find out by the end of that week, early next week, by the
Okay.
very latest.
And how do you find out? Is it an email? Is it?
It's through your supervisor.
Supervisor
correct?
will notify.
Yeah, it's through your supervisor.
Okay, all right. And this last question that we get very often, that relocation allowance, so that $750 per year up to $3,750. What's the timeline? What are the parameters? What's all that about?
Well, the relocation allowance for new employment,
Mhm,
seeking new employment, you can use that up to 1 year after your termination.
mhm.
Now, for tuition and training, you can use that up to 2 years after your last day at work.
Okay,
The parameters are you have to receive permission or
I guess approval.
approval
From
from
Verizon.
Verizon.
Yeah. And this is what the offer packet specifies, but the three main categories of expenses for reimbursements are relocation, tuition, and
Training.
Okay, so relocation, you have to incur those relocation expenses within that first year.
To seek other employment.
Okay, and then tuition and training, Verizon will allow you to incur those expenses for up to 2 years from your retirement date
Right,
to be considered for reimbursement.
exactly.
Got it. Okay, so those are all the questions we have today. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Again, please feel free to stop by Silvioni's on the 27th. We hope to see you guys in person. And if you think of any other questions after this evening, feel free to reach out to us. You can call us at 412-261-5966, or our emails are at the bottom of the screen. And thanks so much everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time. Take care.